They say matches are made in heaven. But what if you are in a relationship with someone who is not a good match for you? In my perspective, your life will become hell. What do you think? Hey, this is Anshuman, and welcome to another episode of Author Interview with Anshuman. And today we have Ms. Anubhuti Ratan, the best-selling author of Beaten But Not Broken. Hi, Anubhuti.
Hi, Anshuman.
Thanks for joining this interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. It's very hard, very difficult to find women like you. The topic you've written on is really brave. I mean, not anyone or everyone can write, but on a topic like this, it takes a lot of courage to write something like this. Domestic abuse and all, it was always there in our country, especially in the rural areas. It was always there.
Mhm.
But uh, since it's a women, I must salute all the women in India, in this country, who are, taking a step ahead and coming out in public and they're sharing their stories. And yes, they're helping other women as well. And you are, I can say, I would say you're one of them, but yeah, you are making difference with the story, with your writing, and with the things you do. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you.
So Anubhuti, before we start, would you like to introduce yourself, like who you are, what you do, and about your book?
Sure. So, my name is Anubhuti Ratan. I am a psychologist by education and a therapist. I work as a L&D professional. I've worked for 20 years with the corporates, but I've been working in the healing field for maybe 30 years. I was a teenager when I started walking this path, and it has been my journey. I conduct trainings and workshops and healing um, in my setup, which is called Heal Within. And I ended up in a marriage which was abusive. There were red flags that I ignored or benefit of doubt, which later led to a difficult 10 years of my life. And I wanted to capture the fact that what I've seen with very close quarters and how I got out of it. Because I realized that there were many women who were going through a very bad time and they felt that they had to live like that. Or there was nobody to talk to them or tell them that, hey, you're not the only one. So I decided to write a book. I've been wanting to write it for many years. But now, when I did write it, thanks to your support, I wanted to make it specific to a person who's going through these struggles to say, okay, these steps worked for me, maybe they'll work for you as well.
Thank you. So it reminds me of one saying, very old saying, like लड़की की मतलब मायके से डोली निकलती है and ससुराल से आती है. And that is there in the mindset. Like when I understand this is not the same thing now. People have changed their mindset and they've understood things. They've become very practical. But yes, this culture was there in mind, and yes, that's the reason we uh, read a lot of stories in newspaper like this, right? Which is not very pleasant.
Yeah.
So, I would say it's not only about women, even men are victim of this kind of thing. But when do you think it's time to seek help, and when it's time, if I both हो गया, now we should just move on. Because moving on, in my perception, maybe I'm wrong, but in my perception, moving on is the last option. But yes, I would love to know your perspective on this.
So, Anshuman, like you said, women are not the only abused ones. There's abuse among men as well. So, abuse is gender neutral. It can be met to anybody by anyone. But when you say that, when do you know that it is time to ask for help and when it is time to move out? There's a very long journey that a person covers in that. So, I feel everybody has a threshold, and every time that threshold is passed or crossed, that's when you say, I've had enough. And when I got married, I came from a similar thought कि अर्थी उतर जाती है from your in-laws place. So I gave it 200% or maybe more of what I could give. But when that threshold, my threshold was I will not accept beating. And when I was threatened to be beaten up, not just by my husband, this time it was my in laws, that's when I said, I've had enough. So you have to decide what is your threshold.
But don't you think before reaching that threshold, so it's not like कुछ भी अचानक से होता है. Everything takes time. So even when
Yes,
you are on the street and somebody is trying to punch you, before he actually punches you, he takes time, he raises his hand, and he gives you signal that he's going to punch you, right?
yeah,
So the same thing happening in all the scenarios, right?
absolutely.
So wouldn't it be wise to identify these signals and seek help before actually reaching that point?
Yes, absolutely. So इसमें दो तीन challenges होते हैं. एक, like I mentioned in the book also, there's a psychologist called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross who says there is a cycle to grief, and it starts with denial. So when you are getting there are red flags which you tend to ignore क्योंकि ये मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता, this can't be true, I'll give it benefit of doubt, तो पता नहीं चलता. Then when it starts happening, we are not taught how to deal with abuse, and it all depends on what is your level of self confidence and self esteem. So when I got married, I was pretty high on my self esteem. However, this was an arranged marriage. I wasn't sure. I'd only seen love marriages, and in love marriages, the equation was very different. So I thought I was probably being too judgmental, being too, my expectations were too high. So I wanted to give that extra shot to make it work. पता ही नहीं चला कब self esteem dipped, and I started accepting the the limitations and the lies that were thrown at me. I started believing I'm a burden on my own parents. Can you believe it? My parents who've given me the luxury of a chauffeur driven car, who've given me everything that they could afford, I started to believe that I will not be welcomed in my own home. So that threshold gets passed when you say, you know what, even if that is so, I will still not live here. I will go back or I will create a new life. तो वो पहले पता नहीं चलता, एंड अवेयरनेस एंड एक्सेप्टेंस में कितना टाइम लगता है वो डिपेंड करता है.
Right. And it's not about only acceptance or being aware. It's more about taking action. I always believe I'm a strong advocate of taking action, right?
Yeah,
So even if you know that something is going wrong and you're not taking action, it's of no use. But not all the women in this country are privileged to take some action. Okay, when I say they are not privileged, I'm not doubting their capacity. बट
sure.
एंड सबसे बड़ा जो चीज़ मुझे दिखता है इंडियन वुमेन में, इट्स लाइक लोग क्या कहेंगे, फैमिली क्या बोलेगी, बाजू वाले क्या बोलेंगे, राइट? बाजू की आंटी की बच्ची क्या बोलेगी. सो दे थिंक अ लॉट एंड दे डोंट टेक.
Yeah,
एंड फिर one thing as to another, and they end up in a tragic way, right?
yeah.
So what's gonna your message to them? I'm not talking about people who are living in cities like Mumbai or Delhi, who have exposure to all the things. I'm talking about people who are living in T2 or maybe T3 or maybe in rural areas.
So my message is very simple. Life is about dignity and respect. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you deserve respect because you exist. अगर आपके if your loved ones are not giving you a dignified life or respect of being a human being, then you are being abused. And if you're being abused, it depends on you how long you will take it. So one of the questions that helped me open my eyes was, can I live with this abuse for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years? And the answer used to be, nahi, nahi, sab change ho jayega. You know, when this happens, something will change. There was a time when I said, this will not change. Can you live with it for 20 years? And the answer was no. And that's when I had to do something. So ask yourself, can you live with this treatment throughout your life?
I completely agree, Anubhuti, but let's think about people who are in the rural areas, right? They don't have, so even if they decide to move out of their home, they don't have any a place where they can, you know, stay. Even I don't know, this sounds really weird, but till now, I know people who think in the same line. यहाँ से डोली निकलेगी बेटी की एंड बस वी आर मतलब हो गया अपना काम शादी करवा लिया अपना काम हो गया still there are people like that.
Sure.
How can these women, especially in the rural areas I'm talking about, how can they help themselves?
So there are two things. One, as a mother, how you bring up your child. It starts with upbringing of a son or a daughter, whichever. So as women who have been through abuse, it is their responsibility to bring up their kids who are sensitive towards the other person, so that it cuts in the bud. Second is, if you are being abused, then become financially independent as soon as possible. Now, that does not mean you need to get a degree, that does not mean you need to go out and get a job. Whatever skill set you have, you might be good in embroidery, you might be good in cooking, you might be good in making achar, you might be good in any kind of activity. Start encashing that and become financially independent. That will do two things. You will stop being dependent on your husband or anybody else, and that gives a lot of confidence, as well as it increases your self esteem. You're able to stand up for yourself, you're not a doormat. Second, it gives you enough finances to do things you want to do. You don't like a toothpaste, you don't like a shampoo, you want to eat something, और कुछ नहीं तो गोलगप्पे खाने बाहर जाना चाहते हो. You're not waiting for another person. See, happiness does not come in big things. 5 star में जाने से happiness नहीं आती. Happiness is, if you feel like having chaat, you can go to the neighborhood and have chaat, or have a bottle of Pepsi or whatever you fancy. भेलपुरी खाने का दिल है, but you're denied because you're a woman and because the man does not want to go. You have to sit here and eat. It's the small things. Meeting your small requirements becomes easier if you are financially independent. And then it is always one step at a time. So do not think the whole plan will lay out in front of you and you'll know starting day 0 to day 100 what you'll be able to do. No, it's always one step at a time. And then you build your strength and you're able to do the next. So, first thing, get financially independent, work on your strengths. 2, ensure that your children are sensitive. A boy should be sensitive to the women. A girl should be sensitive to the men, as well as both should be taught to live with respect. Accept respect, give respect.
That's well taken. I mean, so 10 साल पहले चीज़ें और थी, but now we have 4G all over the places, right? We have mobile. Everyone has got a mobile phone, and everyone has got internet. And if you really want to do something in life, you can actually use it. So stop wasting time on Facebook or TikTok. Stop making TikTok. Unless until you want to
Absolutely.
be influencer, whether you want to. Even if you're making TikTok, and okay, TikTok is banned, but yeah, there are different applications now. But yes, even if you use TikTok, you can make a lot of money if you're using it the right way. So do what you want to do, and yes, with all the digitalization and everything, you can do everything. Just you have to open up your eyes, see around yourself, like what people are doing, what you can do, see within yourself, and yes, you can do it. So thank you, Anubhuti, for putting this point. Because a lot of people, especially women, they say, "What can I do? I'm just a housewife. I stay in this rural place, in a village. I don't have any resource. You don't need any resource. So
Absolutely.
just you need this zit, this willpower to do something, and you can do anything. You know,
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was watching a couple of videos. There's a lady, a very old grandmother, who, with her grandson, has started creating videos on how to make masalas,
yes,
traditional Marathi masalas, and she sells them, and she's a billionaire. Similarly, there was a Punjabi lady who was again from the rural area, a very elderly lady. She was making different dishes in Punjabi, and she's teaching how to make it. And again, YouTube has given them a lot of income. So in today's date, there are all the resources that you want.
Yeah, and it's not just YouTube which pays. Once you become a brand, once people start following you, you become noise in the social media market. There will be brand will come to you and they'll pay you to promote their brands. So it's not
Absolutely.
who is going to pay you. So yes, you have a passion, you are good at something, and I'm sure you are good at something also. If you're saying that no, I'm not good at anything, you must be lying to yourself. So first identify what you're good at and then work on that. I completely agree on you on this, with you on this. So okay, now again let's talk about the book, right? Was it an easy process? Because I haven't read the book honestly, but the reviews I've got from others about this book, people who tried to read this book and read this book, one thing was very common. The book was awesome, but it was not an easy read. When I say it was not easy read, it's not about the language. It's not like hyphen to English. It's about the way it's written. It's not for everyone, not for people who are suffering with, you know, you need a strong heart to read this book. So, how easy or difficult was it for for you to write this book?
I've been wanting to write for a very long time, like I said, and I started writing the book maybe three, four times, and I would always leave it because it was very hard for me to write. But writing this book, I was very focused that I have to give steps that will make it work for them. So I limited my stories and I focused on the steps. So writing was like it was like putting Dettol on my open wounds, and it stung. It really did hurt. But over time, once I've written it and I've read my own book three, four times, um, it doesn't hurt as much. And when I've received, and my hope was that no matter what I'm doing, it should help others. And if one person says, "Hey, this gives me hope," that would be the balm that I'm looking for. So it wasn't easy, but it is like catharsis. It's gone out of my system, and that is healing.
Yeah, I understand, but yeah, but I don't think it was easy. I mean, if I can read that book, yeah, you rightly say it must have stung.
It did. And, my best friend who was there through the worst of my times, it was very difficult for her to read. And this is the advice I gave her, that do not think of a person or me in particular while reading the book. Think of it as a story. And the message is not the pain, the message is the steps.
Right.
I've given few incidences to establish what abuse looks like. And the reason behind that is that many people do not understand abuse. They think abuse क्या होता है? अरे अगर उसने किसी ने मना कर दिया आपको कुछ करने से वो abuse थोड़ा हुआ. But the point is, if you're not allowed to even buy a toothpaste of your choice, forget about the clothes, forget about the food. You're not allowed to eat food because you need to wash dishes because everybody else has eaten. So you need to eat last, and then you take the first bite and you need to go and wash dishes. Over time, that becomes abuse and harassment. So, to establish how deep abuse can go, and it is not just physical abuse, mental, emotional, verbal, financial, all of these are abuses, and they come in different forms. So, that's the reason the incidences have been given. Yes, when you picture a human being or you relate to it, you connect to it, it can become difficult to read because then you start associating and you start reliving those incidences. But if you focus on the steps, it I hope it gives you a way forward.
Right. And that's what I love about book. Like it's not like we played the victim card. They actually come up with the step, the solution because see, I faced it and I have made a change. Now I am this. So if I can do, even you can do. That was the message of.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason I love this book.
Thank you.
So for a woman or anyone who is facing this domestic violence or domestic abuse for that matter, how long? I know it's not like one shoe fit all, but on an average, how long it should take for the person to get out of it?
There is no correct answer to that. It depends. I'm part of some support groups for divorced and separated women who are going through different times. There are women who've lived in abuse for 25 years. So it depends how soon you accept 25 years. You're on mute.
Sorry. See, I forgot to unmute myself. I was like, okay, 25 years is too much. I mean,
Yeah.
someone lives 25 years with, okay,
So, what happens is you start giving excuses. First, you don't accept, then you become aware, then you start giving excuses because you've bought, your self esteem has dipped and you've bought their limitations. So, I also used to give excuses like I have to keep the family together. My parents will not want me back. Again, lie. My child is too small, I have to give him security. So, there is an incident that I've described where I realized that the safety of the child is only my excuse because he does not have the safety. So if he doesn't have the safety, then as a responsible mother, should I keep him in a place where he's losing his childhood, or do I take the responsibility and fixing it? I can't undo the marriage, I can't undo the abuse, I can't undo the years that have gone by. What I can do is change what the future will be.
and that's the only thing that future is the only thing that is there in our hand.
Actually, the present is what is in my hand, because future would depend on what I do in my present.
Right.
So at that time, it was important that I take the first step and I step out. Uske baad kya hoga dekha jayega. So at that time I was unemployed. I had a small child that I believed I cannot take care of. My parents were not in the country, so getting a second job or a new job would have been difficult. I had been doing freelancing. I was working, but I wasn't fully employed. I wasn't on rolls. And getting a new job after even a small break is not easy, especially for women. So the challenges were plenty, but the cost of living in abuse and doing nothing was much more than stepping out of your comfort zone. So, one thing that I will tell a person to get out of your abusive marriage, you need to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Get ready and embrace the dragon. You'll figure it out.
This is like okay. And so, since we say you said like you didn't have a job at that time, and obviously you didn't have the business as well, and from that stage to now where you own two businesses, right? So, how was the journey?
It was tough. It was overwhelming. It was tiring. I put in very long hours, very long hours. I worked close to 20 hours every single day of the week. But like you said, I have two businesses. I'm a director at K2B Learning, which is an L&D field with corporates. And I have my private practice in Heal Within, where I help other people with different challenges, be it relationship issues or physical ailment issues or phobias and fears or even career issues. Wherever there is a challenge, they come. We do sessions for them, we do counseling for them, coaching for them, and they've had some amazing results. I conduct workshops. I'm a internationally licensed Heal Your Life workshop leader. I've conducted workshops in UAE, in Chennai, in Delhi, in Ahmedabad. So I've conducted workshops in various places. Life is busy, it's good. I buy what I want to buy, I save, which is what a single parent should be focusing on. But from where I had started, which was completely beaten down, today I know I'm whole. I'm powerful, I'm inspirational because I focused on what I can do. And with that, if I have people who look up and who ask me for support, I know I must have done something right. I may not have done everything right, but whatever I've done, if it has worked, if my son has a good life that he leads, I have a peaceful, happy life that I lead, I think I call myself a success.
Yeah, so success, I must say, you're super successful because this journey, I know it was not easy. So basically, जो आपने मेजर था, that's not success. अगर you must have heard this multiple time. 2 मिनट में अगर कुछ बनता है तो मैगी बनता है, बिरयानी को टाइम लगता है, right?
True, absolutely.
Yeah, that's okay. Success is never easy. And since you have taken so much effort and all, and now you have owned 2 companies and you're doing good, and that is success for me. The most important thing is you're happy now. And
Yes.
that is success. Right? No matter how much you earn, how many companies you own, which car you drive, or you drive or you're a chauffeur, doesn't matter. If you're happy within, you are successful. So
Couldn't agree more.
yeah. But when you're a single mom, when you're divorcee, right? People, you know, they don't give you the respect you deserve most of the time, especially in the rural areas. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about in metros. Okay, I'm talking about T3 villages maybe. So obviously, even if you move out, even if you start something of your, even if you're successful, you are earning money. Life is not gonna be easy for you for a long time if you are in
See, life is not easy for an abused person either ways. Living with abuse is equally tough. Living without abuse, but life on your own terms is equally difficult. I have maids. I have maids who work for people I know who are single parents, who threw their husbands out because they were hitting them all the time and taking away the money. So, and I compare myself, and they get me that I work as hard as they work. So, for a person who's a survivor of abuse, there is no easy life. You have to work hard and you have to accept it. One thing that I realized, and like you said, that people do not respect you. That is common whether you are in Delhi or whether you are in Jharkhand or whether you are in any other village.
I don't think so. So in metros, I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
So I'll give an example. A promotional call comes on my phone for Byju's or anything else. The first question they say, "Can I speak to your husband?" I
Oh,
say, "What do you want?" For that matter, my son's school. This is when I've given applications. They would always write, "Please ask your husband to pay up." So I said, "You really want money from him? Because he's not going to give you a penny. So if you want money, you talk to me. I am the sole custodian of my son. I do everything, whether financial, whether emotional, whether whatever. So talk to me." Initially, it used to hurt. Initially, I used to get it. Now I say, "No, husband, talk to me if you want to, otherwise, goodbye." Simple. I went to get passport made or passport or Aadhaar card made. They wanted the father there. So I said, "Father nahi hai." So one of them said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, "Nahi, mara nahi hai. Just he's not there in my life. He's very much alive, but just not in my life." So I'm not sure how a lady in the village would deal with, but as a human being, um, what I can advise is the social conditioning is a box that we have accepted. When you accept to step out of those boundaries of a marriage so that you can survive for your children's sake, you also have to take the courage of breaking the boundaries of the emotional construct that is created. I have some very dear family members who love me, but who judge me because I stepped out of marriage. As a matter of fact, they've said it on my face. "Oh, so and so is successful in marriage." Some people are not able to deal with it, or some people are not able to do enough to keep a marriage. Similarly, I would expect a person in the village would be under a lot of pressure. But I do know of women who fought female infanticide, who fought female feticide. If you can fight for your child to live, this is also life that you're giving to your child. And the same strength comes whether you are in the metros or whether you are in the village. The fight is for a dignified life that you're giving to your child because your child is watching you. And I know last time also you said, what about your own self? My motivation was my son. For myself, when I was taking divorce, I did not ask for anything. No maintenance, no alimony. As a matter of fact, I paid for the entire procedure. He did not spend a penny. But my benefit was I'm divorced. He can't abuse me anymore, right? But my motivation has been my child. So that's what motivates me. Anything I do, if it will make my son's life, whether I'm alive or not, easier, I'll do it, no matter how difficult it is.
That's a very bold statement, I must say. Okay. So you said we talk about heal within, right? Where you help people, or it's only for women, or it's for all of
No, it's for men, women, children,
you.
anyone.
So you help them getting out of the shadow and doing things and fighting their self doubt or things like that, or what is it all about?
Yeah, so there are different people who come for different reasons. I've worked with people with infertility. I worked with people with physical conditions, polycystic ovarian syndrome, liver. I've worked with emotional issues, relationship issues, people having trouble with a certain person in their life, their mother-in-law, children, whoever. I worked with people who are in abusive relationship. I work with people who have challenges at work. So the whole gamut. And what I do is I help them identify their limiting beliefs and how their actions are stemming from those limiting beliefs. And then we break them and then we create action plan that they can do to create the life that they lead. So the work is by them. I guide them. There are lots of techniques that I use, and we channelize their anger, we channelize the negative emotions into something that they want to make into something positive.
Awesome, but I have a query over here. So
Hmm.
you're a psychologist, right? So I know you must be very good at guiding people to deal with such emotions and everything to overcome the limiting beliefs and all. I agree. But when it comes to physical alignment, like you said, heart, kidney, you know, uh, how does it work? It's not about psychology, right?
Well, actually, if you see metaphysics, it says that every physical ailment is because of an emotional reason, a psychological reason. So if you have a, sorry,
I mean, is it?
yes. So if you see, cancer is a known a study that has been done. There are many researches that are done where they link cancer to chronic anger and resentment. People with cancer are advised to watch comedy or to lighten themselves up. And we've seen situations where cancer was healed. As a matter of fact, Louise Hay, who's the founder of Hay House, and based on whose philosophy Heal Your Life workshops have been created, she created it herself and then she's licensed others to conduct the training. She herself fought cancer and she healed it without medication using the same techniques that we are now using. So, any kind of resentment, anger that you are experiencing and not saying out, it blocks the chakras, it blocks your body. And when you're able to work on your emotional front, you're able to heal it. I'll ask you a question. Why is it that people heal a certain physical disorder and then it comes back again?
Um, the immune system, maybe.
And what affects the immunity system?
Mm, food, lifestyle, genes, genetics.
Right now, if you go to the human, the Vedic, my the Vedic science, you would realize that they say there are chakra that we have, seven chakra in our body, right? Each emotion, each thought will change the alignment of your chakra. And when you balance that and you're able to open and cleanse your chakra, your thought processes and your way of life changes, which is why in the olden times, people used to talk about meditation, yoga, listening to bhajans, doing Surya Namaskar, which is nothing but exercise and alignment of your entire body and endocrine system. So, if you see, energy and our body are very closely aligned. If you do yoga, it's not exercise, it is your endocrine system, your nervous system that is getting aligned and attuned. So it is physical, it is energy, and so etheric and emotional. All three are combined. If I work on my emotion, if I'm feeling angry, can I smile? No. If I'm smiling, can I get angry?
Obviously, no.
Right? So if I'm smiling, what are the emotions that are getting released? Positive. What are the thought process? Positive. What is the energy? Positive. What would be my immunity level like? It would be high up. However, if I'm depressed, my immunity will go down as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's all connected. We cannot say that okay, इसके लिए मैं दवाई खा लूंगा, लेकिन I'll continue to abuse or curse others, because if you're constantly cursing others, guess what? It will show in your body.
That's something new for me, at least for me. Maybe our viewers have is not, they must have known it, but for me it was new.
Sure.
Okay. So, you do conduct session online or you do it physically? Because
So I
people also
sorry.
will watch this video, right? So, if they want to connect with you, how is it?
So I do it on face-to-face basis also. Plus, I do virtually as well. I also conduct workshops on WhatsApp. Although, of course, because of the technology, the limitations would be there. Um, when you come for a face-to-face session, the kind of techniques I will use would be different, because I can touch and I can make you move, I can make you stand, I can make you do various things where movement is also involved. If it's on WhatsApp, you would get messages, you would be asked to journal, you'd get some meditations that I would have recorded. I would give you some excerpts to read, some tasks to do. If it is virtual, we would be talking like you and I are talking. And again, I would give them some journaling work. I would ask them questions. I would coach them. So I would ask them questions. I would lead them in a way. So depending on the technology, the kind of sessions are different. There are times, for, especially if I'm working with infertility or cancer, I do request them to come and take sessions physically because of the layers that you need to work on. Or sometimes we do a blended where some sessions are done virtually and some they come for maybe a session physically, if possible.
Okay, and where do you conduct sessions? In Delhi?
In Gurgaon, yeah.
Okay. So, people from Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, they all can come to you.
Faridabad, Ghaziabad, yeah.
So that way.
Manesar, yeah, that entire belt.
Perfect.
Even today, when I go for a client meeting, the first question I ask is, why do you want this? Once I understand your why, I can then suggest how we can do it. So, how se pehle why aata hai? Hamisha. But right now, the question is always asked how I will do it. So, how nahi pata chalega jab tak why nahi pata. And that has helped me reestablish my career. and take both the companies forward.
Awesome. And we discussed about Heal Within, but what about this K2
K2B.
K2B?
So K2B learning stands for transcending knowledge to business. We work with corporates. Automobile has been a very big sector for us. We are also in healthcare, in IT, in pharmaceuticals, in manufacturing. Um, it is the founder is Gaurav Mann, who's a friend of mine, and I'm a director. I head the operations and content and learning solutions. The focus for Gaurav and me has always been to give the best we can to a client, which is good for their business. So sometimes clients come to us and they're confused about what they want, or they're just following a trend. And Gaurav and I both try our maximum to reach to why do you want to do this? What is the impact that it will get? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then we work backwards. We have a team of about 45 facilitators who are empaneled with us. We have a 16 people strong team of content creators, which are instructional designers. And more people keep joining us, and we are able to work with 100 active clients at any given time. So even though there was lockdown and it did impact our business, it didn't stop us. We have an arm which does in-person and virtual trainings, and we have another arm which does e-learning. So work kept going on, and with God's grace, things have been good.
Awesome. That's good. And yes, see, again, I would like to add something over here. I can say broadly that two business models. One is physical and one is virtual. So in today's day, if you have physical model, and now this is for people who are working with video. If you have physical model, right, uh, I can see a lot of growth in that. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to scale it up, right? So try going the virtual model where you don't need to have a lot of inventory or physical space, you know. Uh, Try to go digital, and that is, I don't say that's the future, that's the present, right? So think in that way. It's high time we should think in that way. So
As a matter of fact, if I can add, I don't think only one segment will help you reach the goals that you're trying to reach. So it has to be a blended approach where there's some e learning, some virtual, and the physical may or may not be, but only one segment will not give you any results per se.
So virtual is a very broad term which I've used. So it includes everything that you do without having a physical product, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So yes. So since we're talking about digital, how was the journey, the writing journey? I hope you
The
enjoyed it.
the writing journey. You
I
want the honest answer?
it must not be easy for sure. दो चीजें एक तो there's very difficult problem. Secondly, the topic you've chosen. I'm sure it does not be easy, but still, I would love to know the feedback.
So I took the challenge. Things actually synchronicity played in. 2 weeks before I took the challenge, I was talking to somebody and we were having this conversation about divorce and marriage and separation and how people are suffering and what they can do about it. And I said, I've been wanting to write a book and maybe I should write. There's such clarity of thought now. And then I came across your ad. I tried to register, I couldn't register, and I gave up. I forgot about it because there was a lot of work happening. I was busy with work. And then suddenly your call came and I accepted the challenge, not knowing what I'm getting into. That week was the toughest week in my work, in my day job as well, because I had 32 coaching sessions in the week.
32 coaching session a week.
32 in that 1 week that I had to conduct.
Okay.
Apart from that, I had to, there were emails and other things that were happening, proposals and all. As an entrepreneur, you don't work on one project, you work on multiple projects all the time, and everything has different So it was anyways a very difficult week. Plus I sleep early so that I can wake up very early. So the session we would have was at night, so I would be sleepy anyways. Add to that the homework, and I had to write the book, which was emotionally charging for me, and the process of writing and editing. It was a week in, matlab, it was a roller coaster week. But after that week is over and the book got published, it's like the high you get from a roller coaster. It's like I've tasted blood and now I'm not going to stop. So you helped me with the first book. Please know I'll be writing many more and I would be seeking your help again
Anytime.
on different topics.
Anytime. Thank you. So, Anubhuti, okay, now this question is for people who are already in this family. Okay, I always ask other authors, like, what's gonna be your advice for people who are not, who haven't joined the challenge yet, but
Hmm.
who think that they should write a book? Obviously, I'll ask this to you as well. But before that, there are a few people in our family, in our 5 lakh family, who have joined the challenge, but they are unable to finish their book yet. And they have a lot of reason for that, obviously. So, what's gonna be a message from your end for them?
So I will give three messages. One, when they take the challenge, it's like when somebody throws you in the water, you trust that twig that is by your side that you're staying afloat with. Trust Anshuman. If you doubt, you will not float, you will sink. So you will have to go out of your comfort zone, all out, be vulnerable, be angry, be whatever, but you'll have to trust that this will work. Second, do the challenges on time. First day's challenge has a meaning. Only when you see the first day's challenge gives you the reason to complete on the fifth day. If you miss one challenge, you cannot complete on the last day. You can't catch up. It has to be at that time. Third, something that Anshuman had said on day one, do not run after perfection. I wrote my book because I was sleepy and I was emotionally upset while writing it. I proofread it maybe 3 times. I published it on Kindle. I am re editing that entire book and I will be publishing it again after the promo is over. And I will write to my readers and say, please update the ebook. But had I waited for perfection to happen, my book would not have been published, and I was tempted not to publish it. And had Anshuman not been awake the whole night through, it would not have been published. It was because this man was waiting up the whole night, and anytime I said Anshuman, and he was like, "Yeah, what do you want?" That I could actually publish it. So I wanted to write it. It's my idea, it's my journey, it's my effort. But I would give 60% of the credit for this book to be a reality to only Anshuman.
Okay, I'm overwhelmed now. 60% is too much, but yes, what you say is right. The people, a lot of people, most of them, uh, that two common reasons. Okay, one, uh, they don't have time. Second, they want the perfect piece, and both of them. Somehow, I don't believe in perfection. I believe in productivity and time. मेरे हिसाब से तो निकल ही आता है. If you really want to do something, एक दिन push करना दो. See, if you ideally if you see, first day you spend what around 2 hours max, or not more than that. First day, day 2 and 3, there are 2 days where you push your limits, and day 4 is just about publishing. So उसके लिए कुछ याद जागना पड़ा तो that's a different story. So 3 days you have to dedicate in your entire life, right? So that's not very difficult for me.
It's about coming out of your comfort zone. Na? It's pushing that hard and not stopping yourself. हम क्या करते हैं, हम ब्रेक पे पैर रख के फिर एक्सेलरेटर पे पैर रखते हैं, तो नहीं चलेगा ना. You have to trust कि मैं नहीं भिड़ूंगी. It's okay. Let me go. So, like I said, my book has mistakes. There are times when I said, "ये बाकी का sentence कहाँ गया? खा गई मैं." But it's okay. कहीं पे comma की जगह full stops लगे हुए हैं. Which in my right mind, I have a good command over the language. I would not do. And my readers, all my readers in the promo time have been mostly my friends. So they said, "अच्छा लिखा है, लेकिन ये क्या किया?" I said, "Sorry, मैं ठीक कर रही है, अभी भेजूंगी." So it's okay. And this is the buffer zone. So one learning I realized was जैसे ही publish करो, promo नहीं शुरू करो, क्योंकि वो update होने में time लगता है. But I also understand the reasoning because this is the safe zone. बाहर निकल गया, आपको reviews मिलने शुरू हो गए, you are now committed to your book. And you can always redo it and republish it. उसमें problem नहीं होएगी. So actually 5 दिन का challenge है और फिर 5 दिन promo के आपके पास में to rewrite the book है, if I'm not wrong.
Right. So that's the reason we commit on Sunday, but we publish on Thursday. वहाँ
Yeah.
पे yeah. So yes, it's all planned that way only. And the 5 commitment you read on day 5 also.
Yes.
और आज तक बहुत कम ने पूछा है चीज़ कि now we're on day 5. Why are you saying कि 5 दिन तक हम ये करने वाले? Because it started now after day 5. Anyway, right. And what's gonna be a message for people who think or who are not sure whether they should write a book or not?
Everyone has a story to tell. And your story will help and affect somebody. You may not know who, but it will affect a life. So, what's the point of living on this planet and dying without influencing at least one soul? And you don't know kiski kahani kisko help karegi.
Right.
So, it's in my mind, it's a disservice to mankind to not tell your story. Write a book.
Yeah. In other words, it's your responsibility as a human being to share your story.
Absolutely. And that's how the mankind has evolved. अगर नहीं किया होता तो आज भी हम caves में रह रहे होते, animal skin पहने होता और कच्चा मीट खा रहे होते. We evolved because of the stories that we've told each other and the lessons we've learned from each other. So this is our responsibility for walking this planet.
Thanks for sharing this thing. I mean, अभी तो शायद आप लोगों को समझा होगा अगर मेरी बातें नहीं समझी होगी तो आज तक. Just kidding. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you, Anubhuti, for having this wonderful conversation. And guys, I'm gonna share the link to her book, her workshops, her website, everything in the description. You can click there and get connected with her if you need any help, and if you're especially in that zone, Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, so you can obviously get in touch with her. And yes, the book link is there in the description. You can go and read the book. And now it's a bestseller, right?
Yes, it's been bestseller for the last 3 days.
Yeah. So just go and grab your copy. And if you want to write a book and you want me to interview you, you can anytime join my challenge. I again share the link in the group or in the description. So click on the link and join challenge, and I'll see you on Monday. So thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.